Hi everyone, this is David with Tigner Adventures. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to evaluate some new blocks that we've received from a company called Beefy Blocks. That's what these are, is Beefy Blocks. And they've sent me 2 stacks of these. They are like Lego blocks where you can stack them together to build up the area that you're going to drive your wheels up onto, or you can use them for a number of different things. You can drive up on them, or you can put your jacks down and use these to put your jacks on. They've got an interesting design here, so if we go ahead and open this up, the red ones here are meant to be the top, so they're nice and flat. The standard block has 4 little pieces there, and you'll notice this has 4 holes, so this just sits right in there. And if that's all I was using, I would just drive up. This gives me a little bit of a starting ramp right up here. It grabs onto this, the tire will grab here as it's coming up onto here, so it doesn't push this block. You know, if it was just like driving up here, you could get where the tire's just kind of pushing along and it's not staying there for it to drive up onto. But this design right here makes it so that the wheel drives up onto it and then up onto there. And it also acts as a way to carry them around. So pretty interesting design. The idea behind this company is that the reason these are called Beefy Blocks compared to the yellow ones that you see, and there's some that are like teardrop shaped that, you know, curl up and everything. They're pretty lightweight. I wanted to get those curl up ones to for my motorhome, and the guy at the RV store says your RV will crush these. So here comes Beefy Blocks. So Beefy Blocks, besides having this 4 spot right here, if you look on the bottom here, it's got a fairly wide footprint here so that it can lay on something pretty, you know, flat and give it a lot of support as you pull up on there. So the idea is that you stack these up like Lego blocks, and then you drive up on them. They can support the weight of your big rig, which other ones can't. Now, if you look in our storage compartment here, you can see that I have it stacked full of wood. That's how we normally have been doing our leveling as we park different places. And so what I'm doing is I'm pulling out all of this wood. It actually weighs 50 pounds to carry that wood around. These blocks, both these stacks together, weigh 19 pounds. So considerably lighter than the wood. A lot easier to just lift them up and carry them around when I need them. And of course, we just stack them together and build whatever particular setup that we want. So what I'm thinking of doing is, the idea here is to test these under some different situations to see how they work. I actually have dual tires in the back and a tag axle. And so I'm going to build up 2 sets of these. And as for duals, so they would be, you know, for example, like this, okay? 2 sets like that, and then another set that's going to be for the tag axle. That's why I have so many of these red. The red is the top piece that goes on there to give you the complete flat support. And to start off with, we're going to kind of build this out a little bit. We're going to do a couple different things here. We want to build this up an extra step. So I'm going to put 2 of these together so they look like, if I turn this to the side, you'll see. So you'll see that they are connected like that. So that way I'll get 2 levels going up here. And I'm going to build up 3 sets of these because I have a tag axle. I have 3 tires that I have to lift up. So that is just over 2, it's about 2 1/4 inches high right there. So that's what this is measuring out to be. So I'm going to try to build these in this fashion just to give me a little extra here. I just want to do some different tests on how high we can go, or how high we have to go. So there's my duals. This is my tag axle, all set up the same. I still have more of these building blocks so I can go up as high as I need to. Now, the instructions on these for using them says that you should be placing these on some type of flat surface. And the idea is we don't want to place them on a surface that's higher here and lower here where it could, tweak these or whatever. So since I'm in the dirt right now, I'm thinking of I'm going to do a little test, and I'm going to try using these to begin with. So I still have 4 of these left over from before that I used to use, and if I just do it that way, then it keeps a nice flat surface here and gives me the extra support I need for this in this case. Right now in this first test, I want to check and see if it'll hold the weight of the rig just being flat on these. And then I'm going to also put for the front, instead of putting under my front wheel, I'm going to use my jacks on the front to lift the rig up. And so I'll build just a small set there based on where the jack swings down. So I'll show you that. I'll just build some of these under there so that it can go up, and then we'll test it using the jacks, kind of get an idea of the different ways that these actually work. So you can see here, I'm in my daughter's yard here. We've pulled back here and we are at a slant. And so we're going to use these blocks to try to level the rig out. All right, this is my setup right now, and I think this will work pretty good. We're actually on some pretty soft sand, and so the 2x4s are kind of stabilizing that just a little bit in this case. And these actually are 2x8s, so they're another 1.5 inches. So we're going to be going up about 3.5 inches by the time we're done. So this will be our big test. So we're just pulling forward. I heard a crack. Is it right in the middle of the red?
It was like slightly off, and then it popped back into place.
Oh, so one of the Legos wasn't quite
aligned.
Yeah, it looks really good. Now my jacks are a little different, so they swing down. But you can see that it's quite a ways from the ground. So I'm going to use the Beefy Blocks under there. Since they're like Legos, I can just stack them up. We'll just so you can see they work really good, just as regular blocks, just like you'd put a few pieces of wood under your jacks. This works just as well, and they're a lot lighter to carry around. So you can see here that I've made 5 levels of blocks here to level me off, and over on that side we have 3. And then I've also used blocks for my jacks. See, when we zoom in here that I've kind of put 2 of them right here so that I could get that extra level up and not use, you know, an extra block there. I could have moved it down a little bit further, but I like having them walk together here, and it works very well. Works great for leveling out your ladder also. By placing a couple blocks there, look, now it's nice and solid. It's also now straight up and down so that you're not falling over on the rig. So you can see they're very versatile in what they can do or what you can use them for. One of the things I should point out before I do the actual finishing here and telling you what my results were, they do come with a lifetime warranty. They are a beefy design. They are built-in ramp and handle, which I showed you, and they are sink resistant and sand. I probably should have read that before. Levels, jack stands, stabilizers, chalk blocks, UV protection made out of recycled material. So pretty interesting setup here with this company. They basically have 3 different packages that you can buy, and so this is before any discounts or anything. So this is the standard pricing. You get 10 of the blocks and 5 of the red ones and the strap that holds it all together for $54.99. And the next one down is you get 10 of the blocks and 1 red one like this, and 1 single strap, and that is $41.99. And then the next step down is where you get 5 blocks, 2 red and 1 strap, and that's $37.99. So let's talk about our results. So these are the stacks right here, and basically I'm going to take this stack right here and set it to the side and move all of these over here because these have no damage on them at all. These we damaged. Now I need to preface this too to tell you we've been using these for 2 months quite regularly, and so we've been kind of, you can see from the one video, going up and back, you know, we've been torturing these poor little blocks. So let's just talk about how they worked in general. Actually, this block goes in this pile too. So, so this first picture is these first 2 blocks, and basically they just have cosmetic. They're not broke or anything. They just have little where they kind of got smashed just a little bit or whatever. And so these first 2 are, you know, no issue either. So we're going to go put those over there. The next 2 of these red blocks, and I didn't use these in any specific spot every time. I mean, I mixed and matched all the time. So I think this happened mainly on our first go around. So if you look here, you can see that this one here, that these 2 have not just cosmetic things, but they actually are broken on the sides just a little bit. So they've still been usable. All of these have still been usable, even if they're cracked or broke or whatever. And again, they do have a lifetime warranty, so you can get them replaced. There's 2 issues that I really kind of noticed with my setup and my testing. The first one was that, remember, I was using these boards. This one's warped. So it's beveled like this. So I think that's why one of the blocks broke, and I think that's what kind of tortured these a little bit more, was because of that. It does say in the setup instructions that you want to be on a nice flat surface, and so when it was on a flat surface they worked really good, and when I used them, I can use them in conjunction with boards if they're nice and flat. However, if you are going to use them with the board, the other thing I think that's important is that they're set to one side of the board. because the wheel needs to come up here, and then you need to, the other issue that I had was when you are taking this little thing here, it needs to be shoved right underneath the tire, really nice and tight. And then you build everything in there nice and tight, and then that makes it so it goes up there, you know, up onto the ramp a lot nicer. And so in retrospect, this probably wasn't the best thing. So I don't use those anymore for driving up on anymore, because like it said, they work just fine in sand. Worst case is they kind of settle in and it just smashes into the sand. But if you shove this all in there and build your ramp nice and tight against the wheel so it's already there, then you don't have the second time when I was doing it where it kind of, you know, flipped them up. You know, it flipped these things up like this and it was kind of all going kwampus. So if you build them nice and tight there, then they seem to work really well that way too. So anyway, so those two were had some cosmetic on them. These had 2 spots that are broke just a little bit of the red ones. So out of the 6 red that I've been using, this is just cosmetic, nothing biggie, but you know, I did break 2 of these. Just a little bit on the edge, still very, very usable. All right, so let's talk about black ones now. So if you look at these next 2 black ones, again, cosmetic. So it's just that they're pushing down on the sides right here a little bit. And they're just causing, you know, little nicks on the sides there. But other than that, they're held up very well. The next 2 here that I'm looking at, for some reason, they're got some bulge out here. I'm not really sure what that is from, but somehow, remember, I'm kind of rocking back and forth with my rig, and so I think that just caused them to come off just a little bit. But I mean, again, you know, just cosmetic. This one is the only one that actually has a piece broke out of it. So that one, the piece broke out of it. And the other thing is on the bottom side of this one, you can see where, you know, the rocks, there was some rocks and they kind of smashed into it, or they kind of deformed the bottom of this just a little bit. But other than that, I mean, again, they still work great. And the final one, this out of the last 2 months of us doing everything, is the only one that actually broke. And I'm pretty sure that happened on that first time when we heard that little crack, just because of the way that the board was on there, and it was kind of beveled. So it wasn't beveled in like this. We kind of had it beveled out, and it kind of just put a little tweak on it. Remember when I was talking at the first video, I said you want to make sure that you're level so you're not tweaking one side. Well, I tweaked it. But with that said, it's still not, I mean, I can flex it, but it's still usable, and I've been using it for the last 2 months without any issues at all. So, so you know what? Overall, I have to say, I've been pretty impressed, and I'm gonna pick up another stack of these because I can use these for anything, and they're so lightweight. They don't take up much room in the rig, and they can be used for all kinds of things. And one of the things is with our jacks, they're older, so they're not meant to lift the rig up, you know, the tires off the ground. I don't think any of them really meant to do that. They're for stabilization. And so these things like this really come into play to make it a lot nicer. And a lot of spots that we park at, especially when we're boondocking, aren't necessarily nice and level. And so these have really worked well. So I have to say that I give Beefy Blocks a thumbs up. I talked to Weston there, and I told him what my results were, and I broke a couple of these, and he says, oh, make sure you let me know how many, and we'll send you some replacements and everything. So they have just been right on the ball. So again, excellent customer service. I love companies that are set up that way, and so that works out really well. So this is definitely going into our recommendation list for people to pick up. It's a lot better than wood. You know, even at the $50 for the big stack, I mean, I was buying 2x8s, or yeah, 2x8s or 2x10s. The last ones I bought were 2x10s. They cost $15 to $20 for that wood, and every time I would drive up on different things, they were always cracking, breaking. That's why I had so many different pieces of wood I was throwing out, is because they just kept breaking and falling apart. And so then I have to keep spending that money over and over and over again. So this is a much better deal. You know, spend the $50 on this and you're pretty much set. You don't have to keep replacing them like you do with the wood, and the you know, the water and the moisture and things like that doesn't affect these like it does on the wood. So anyway, with that said, thanks for watching this review, and hopefully it's been of value to you. I really learned a lot, and I am really excited about these. They really are pretty nice blocks. So great company. Check them out. Thanks for coming along with me. If you can, you know, reach out to us, give us some comments below, tell us what you think if you have them, or if you have questions about them, things that I can answer. But again, this company has great customer service. So otherwise, we'll just plan on seeing you on our next video. So take care.